You could also obviously just play the games. If you have near tokens, you can just play on mainnet. If you do not have near tokens, you can just play on testnet, learn about the games, and see if they're worth playing, see if getting some near is, to play is worth it. We're also hopefully going to eventually have test accounts. So the way those will work is basically you will basically click like test account or whatever. So this will be like testnet, and basically it'll be a mainnet account that you test with, where you cannot withdraw the near, you cannot trade the pixel tokens. But let's say we can give that account 100 pixel tokens and 0.5 near for gas. So they'll be able to go to the market on Crypto Heroes, for example, or Pixel Pets, buy some pets and start playing those games without really and they can start using, the marketplaces and stuff like that. So again, if you click this wonderful contribute button, it'll bring you to this wonderful guide that kind of explains from a high level how to contribute to each of the games. So again, if anyone's looking for, okay, what type of content can I create for the Marma J Foundation? You could even do a walkthrough video, for example, of yourself going to marmajgaming.org, clicking contribute, clicking one of these things, and going through the contribution process. Because a lot of people do need those visuals to understand, like, what is Pixel Party? How do I find out more? If the wikis aren't here, for example, for them, that might be helpful to add eventually. But again, updating articles as well could be a bounty that someone takes on. But again, this is all kind of community contributions. We created our own version of Sputnik DAO called Marma J-Gaming, and this is the Astro UI, user interface, that we look at it with. There's other user interfaces we can use. I'll show one of those later. But yeah, we can kind of see the DAO funds. We can kind of, the most important part, seeing how many pixel tokens are in the DAO, a whole bunch of tokens, not much US dollar value. Again, this token's all-time high was like $1. And you could definitely see that the value currently at $1 is quite a discrepancy. Currently, I think they're around a little bit less than a cent, maybe. So, quite a drop. The idea, though, is that these tokens are utility tokens. The dollar value doesn't matter too much. It's more about, like, what's the size of our player base? How are people using the velocity of the tokens? How often are people spending these tokens? The main income from the games actually comes from gas spending. So hopefully, most people don't really get how this works. I think the blockchain gaming system is kind of warped and perverse. You have to kind of buy these investment tokens and you hope token go up. Marma J Gaming is definitely not built like that. Neither is the Pixel Apps ecosystem. These Pixie tokens are utility tokens. They're not meant to go up or down or any type of way. They're just used for the games. Obviously, if there's more players and there's a lot of utility, tokens should go up because there's a limited amount of them. And obviously, if there's no use for them and the games aren't being developed well and everyone is kind of has no use to buy them, then the price might go down in relation to US dollars or near or other more valuable tokens, even like Marma J, for example. But the idea is that as people play the games actually earn the 30% some gas fees as people buy more dungeon keys to play. The reason for moving to the BOSS kind of makes a lot of sense. This is a BOSS, blockchain operating system near social widget, created by Shamar and forked by marmajgaming.near. So it's kind of cool how we can, hopefully this again shows why we're building on the BOSS and why it's kind of cool and why, like as a team building, why it's efficient. And right here we can kind of have, play Pixel Party, and then, it comes right into the game. And then you can see I'm actually not logged in. So again, this hopefully shows the next flow, for Shamar managing this specifically. It'd be more efficient if when I hit play, for example, it just brought me to the Pixel Party play widget that just showed the game and I can just play. So Sputnik Boss, there's a link right here for it. I will drop this link in the chat for sure so people can see this for themselves. We are going to be transitioning the entire Marma J ecosystem over to this eventually. This is run by Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak is amazing. So interns, Pikes Peak has a 3-day free trial. Okay, so all you have to do is log out, log in with a Near account, pick a new Near account that has not logged in before. This one has already logged in, I'm sure as well. But make a new Near accounts are free, arguably, right? And you can get a 3-day free trial. So I mean, you can keep making Near accounts and using free trials. A 7-day free trial. So again, I think it's worth paying. For example, you can get a year subscription, $80 a month. Any of the interns that come on, if you guys would like a subscription for us to get for Back Inc., we can definitely do that. We'd be able to make API calls, for example, get all the data from near. Like, it's really cool, actually. I've paid for it many times. My subscription just kind of randomly ends sometimes. I usually just get a free trial again just to kind of see what's going on. But most importantly, this is where this information comes from. One of the main issues that we're actually having right now, and we're kind of trying to help them with user testing, is that it actually, you could see a pretty big discrepancy between the funds that are in this DAO and the funds that are in this DAO. So it doesn't show the PXT token. There's probably a number of reasons for that. What's interesting, though, is when you go to, add a proposal, and you go try and add a transfer proposal, Pikes Peak does index the tokens we have, and it does index we have pixel tokens. I think what the issue is that the pixel token does not have the event standard included, and so they're probably just, they go to Treasury, they're probably just using a different kind of API to bring this information in. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that it shows PXT here. Like they obviously index the PXT and they know who's getting PXT and why. So Ernest, everyone's going to see everything that's happening, which is great. This is why we do it. The funding to the game dev team for the first half of what they're doing for mobile support. This was the funding for purchasing open sourcing Pixel Party. So Pixel Party, the code was not open source. It was closed source actually when we took over. And so I paid the first half out of pocket, for example, and the second half was paid by the gaming DAO once we got our first stage of the grant. And so again, why are we doing this on chain? Why are we doing it transparently? Because again, I'm just product owner for the community. Eventually, I will hopefully move on from my position as product owner. As a community, Marmaduke Foundation as a whole, we are kind of rallying behind the I Am Human initiative. Similar, I don't know, lots of things to talk about there. And in my opinion, I would love to have more actual discussions about this stuff. We'll probably have more of them in the back ink kind of scrums. But the idea is you verify yourself as a human in the ecosystem. It's kind of going through like what is face verification and why do you have to do it with Fractal in order to prove that you're human. Again, other platforms and exchanges and communities use Fractal in general. It's quite a large project. Again, you can look into their docs and how it works and everything like that. Basically, they get a hash of your face scan, which they use to make sure that you're unique. And the idea is that they use enough data points so that someone else cannot pretend to be you or use a unique, or like your face is unique enough, apparently, they say, so that it's very difficult to duplicate someone else and fake who you are. So this is the first phase of what's happening. There's going to be, you're getting a hash, unique fingerprint of the data. It's not an actual image. So some people think that a hash is an image or a hash image, but it's just a string of random numbers and letters that you can't apparently get back to. It's impossible to reverse engineer. See, so for those computer scientists in the audience, there's no actual proof that a one-way function exists. It's just statistics and probability. But anyways, and this is kind of the main issue with privacy, is that if you can't actually prove any of this stuff, like how do we be as secure as we can be? But over 300 people have signed up. Elections should start in July, and everyone who is verified as a human should be able to start voting for the House of Merit and the governance body that will lead the NDC forward to hopefully focus on things that concern the community. Potentially that's privacy, potentially that's not privacy, but either way. So to get started, there is this link. Again, everyone's seen it 100 times. I will drop it here again. You connect your wallet, you get started. It says mint your SBT instead of saying sign up with Fractal. So it really should say like log into Fractal. So you gotta log into Fractal and scan your face, which is always a weird experience. But if you've already done that face scan with Binance or some other exchange or whatever, you can just use the same face scan. So the good thing is the Fractal data is portable across various ecosystems. So 394 people have already signed up. It actually might be more. I don't know how reactive. Okay, it's not very responsive, the UI. But anyways, 400 people. That's pretty cool. I heard it here first. 40% of the way there for I Am Human. And basically what this does is this opens up the community treasury. And basically what it's saying is, okay, we have at least 1,000 people, which means we can start voting on how this funding is going to go out and what we're going to spend it on. So again, it's explaining, unlocks governance which helps, direct the community treasury. So in my opinion, the governance is the most important part. How are we actually going to govern not just the treasury, but what the treasury is spent on, who is deciding that, how it's decided. And there's lots of kind of meetings and groups and chats and all that kind of stuff going on. The project board. And so I kind of moved some stuff over to Blocked, mainly because, again, Block doesn't mean it's not happening. It just means more support, and maybe the support is allocated elsewhere right now, and as it should be potentially, right? Done is the wikis. Needs approval is this matchmaking. I know the matchmaking algorithm is not perfect. We're probably going to have this be, realistically, it'll be a hackathon bounty for MarmaJCon. That's how long-term I'm kind of thinking about this. But for example, the idea is maybe a monthly reset keeps things fair. And so maybe the fix for now is just, once a month, we reset Pixel Pet and just keep pushing things. That to me, that kind of would probably be a sure wall, your decision eventually. If does it need to work, is it fine to reset it once a month, once every 3 months, once a quarter? And then contributors have been selected for getting a boss widget for each of the games. Again, this is just a high level UI kind of task for each of the interns for Back Inc. currently, just to kind of get our hands wet with widget development and kind of work on composing widgets together.